Vanessa Mariano here. I'm very happy to be connecting with you. I just recently got back from my run, and and I wanted to come on board just to share something, an important piece of information. And this is what kind of what I've channeled through during my meditation this morning. And after my run, I just kind of cleared my mind. I released, quite a bit of tension because I have a document, like a translation document, a legal document that I needed to complete, that I had a deadline for, and I still haven't finished it. But I decided I'm going to come on live and connect with you instead, and hopefully we'll still catch the light. So the message today is all about your heart and how it is the heart. Our heart is the gateway to the infinite. So I wanted to share some wisdom and some practical knowledge of the heart with you. So only recently did I have another encounter of certain chakras, and I think I shared that with you a few days back, maybe, in my posts about the Ajna chakra and the crown chakra. However, what I discovered, this is the power in, like, when you have consciousness and when you have self-awareness, you actually know how to heal your own body. So what I recognized was that it wasn't the Agnya that was the issue. It was actually the heart. So it's the heart which needs, especially people that have grown up with, I don't want to be putting anybody in a box, because a lot of us do. A lot of, human beings are very much abstracted in the heart area. So what I wanted to say is that it wasn't the Agnya and the Sahasrara, which is the crown chakra. It was actually the heart and the crown, which are two very important centers, because it's through these centers that we are able to then channel that divine energy, right? That connects us. So what I want to share with you is the functionality and the responsibility of the heart, like the energy centers. So we've got the left channel, which is always the feminine. We've got the right channel, which is the masculine, the doing. Whilst the left is the being, and then we've got the center. So ideally, when we work on our energy channels, what we're doing is, or what we are trying to, we are trying to, balance out the channels so that we can be in a state of bliss, of peace. And that happens when the chakras are not overactive or underactive, but they're actually in the center. Okay? So not on the left, not on the right, but in the center. And when we are too much on the left, or when we are too much on the right, that's when a lot of illnesses actually arise, a lot of deficits, like within our personality, it shows up as well. That's why trauma actually really, it dents our personalities. It conditions the way that we are with people, with ourselves, how we treat ourselves. It's actually really in the way of intimacy. It comes in the way of connection and intimacy. So very briefly today, I'm just going to share with you the heart and what the left heart is responsible for, what the right heart is responsible for, and the center. So so basically the idea is to, to be connected to the heart, to have a clear heart. That's really a gateway that allows us to be free, to be liberated from obstructions, to be liberated from being held down, from having that tense, that energy of tension within our body, within our mind, that gives us that sense of restriction, right? So it's the part where you feel like your mind just, it just kind of switches on and it doesn't shut down. And that's how we detach from our heart, and we're actually attached to the mind. So those are actually signs that our heart needs healing, our heart needs attention, our heart is calling for love, our heart is calling for attention, our heart is calling for intervention. So, the journey for my heart, for the healing of my heart, has been very long, and I have experienced really putting down the walls in the last months around my heart, and I can tell you that the experience, your actual human experience changes. You ascend at another dimension where you literally feel held And things become easier because you're actually more in grace and in peace and in flow. And things start to happen for you. Things just happen in a way. Whereas before, when we operate from an abstracted heart, we need to fight. So we need to fight to protect ourselves. We need to fight to connect. We need to fight. Everything is like a fight. Everything's like a battle. So what I want to share with you briefly is, so the left heart, that actually is emotional attachments of our attention. So the left part of our heart is our mother energy, and it's the emotional part that leads to attachment. It's when if you can think back of, with your relationships, are you attached emotionally? Do you feel like you just want to, are you unable to detach yourself emotionally from a certain event, from certain words that were said to you? So that's a sign that it's your left heart that is actually asking for healing. Whereas the right is actually the physical and the mental attachment. So that's really the masculine. So the father, our parents, we hold them in our hearts. So the left heart is our mum and our right heart is our father. So the physical and the mental attachments, if you seem to not be able to disconnect yourself from an event, and where you continuously use your mind, that means that your mind and physically you feel like you are unable to detach from that event or that situation because you feel physical pain. So that means that you are attached to the right heart, and the right is the right heart needs healing. So the left is the mother, the emotional attachment, the right is the mental and the physical, and then you've got the center, and the center is really the attachment to the Dharma. So it's really the attachment to righteous, to make others righteous. So it's the part where you feel or you think you need to discipline yourself and you need to discipline others. Now, I know this is a massive one. This was a huge one for me because when I was on my journey of healing from the autoimmune disease, I thought I had to be all disciplined. And of course, we do need that level of discipline, however, the approach to the discipline is different when your heart is healed and when you are open and you are channeling, when your chakras basically are in alignment. So if you have obstruction in the center part of your heart, that basically means that a person, you are trying to control all this, all the enemies of lust, of anger, of pride, of vanity, of attachments and greed. So again, it's like an attachment. So we know our heart needs healing when we feel attached. And whenever there's attachments, you know that there's healing is needed, because that's what's really stopping you or standing in the way between you and being at peace and living in grace, right? So remember, when you heal your heart, you become free from all these restrictions, and then you become, you're actually in control. So you are, a free person, and you're full of wisdom. You're filled with wisdom, which means this is a really good part, which means that you become spontaneously righteous. So that's a really good term. So you become spontaneously righteous in the sense that, of course, it's important to write things down. Of course, it's important to, to kind of mind map, the things that we need to do. But when we are so attached to that, to the point where we don't actually socialize, or we're not actually connecting with family, we're not doing other things to really, where your spirit can enjoy itself, where you can enjoy just being yourself, then that means that there's too much attachment, and you can, create detachment and healing in your heart when you practice a lot of tools that I teach, and there's a lot of tools out there that a lot of other people teach as well. I believe in being self-sourcing, so really learning. In my life, I've learned these tools and I've actually applied them. So as soon as I found out that was the issue, I kind of readjusted my ritual, because yes, I did start off by writing things down, and but now it's so integrated within myself, or my rituals and the things that I do to align my energy, that I don't need to be reading it on my diary. I don't need to be reading it from my notes or anything like that. It just kind of, it's within me, and I know when I need to do it. I know what I need to do. So I kind of altered it a little bit, and I included a chant, a mantra that is very powerful, and it's a mantra of the heart, and it's a mantra of the Sahasrara. And I can tell you that, I think I shared it with you a few days ago, how fast I femifested. I say femifested because femifesting is actually the physical embodiment of your desire that you're bringing into your life, that you're attracting into your life energetically speaking. So that's, your power really speaking to you. So yeah, so basically, say hi Winnie, come on. So basically I was just sharing with this, yeah, so instantly, so I found this, I went into my toolbox, I got this chant, and I'm adjusting that, and I'm doing that every single day. I'm also doing an exercise, I think it's from chapter 15 from my book of Divine Love, and there's a whole list of affirmations and exercises and sentences that you can actually write yourself based on your date of birth in the Mayan calendar. So it's based on wisdom, like ancient wisdom, and that really helps you to embody your purpose, to embody your strengths, to embody your weaknesses, to understand your passions, and to really live in full. So, so that's something that I added to my mornings, and it's made all the difference. It's made all the difference in the way. So the way that I can tell, because energy is really subtle and I can feel it a lot, it's made a lot of difference in the sense that I recognize that whatever happens externally does not remain in my body. So whatever triggers, or whatever, or when someone is triggered by something I say or anything like that, it's like my reaction is not a reaction. It's actually a response. Sometimes a response can be, you can also respond with passion. However, it's with a response, and giving that response, I realized as I'm working on this chakra center, there's no attachment to it. Thoughts may come. There might be like a remembrance of a feeling, but what I notice is like really what's prominent is like the awareness of the feeling and the awareness of the thought. Because the feeling is, remember, the left heart, and then the attachment to the thought is the right chakra of the heart. So the incredible difference is that being able to navigate through a situation that is very challenging and coming out of it not being depleted, not feeling depleted, not feeling depressed, seeing it for what it is, observing the thoughts, observing the feelings, but not actually losing yourself in them. Now, that is a sign of a strong heart, of a healthy heart. When you have a healthy heart, you can live more freely. And I know for a fact that my heart was obstructed for many years, and I was unable to live as freely as I wanted to, because everything affected me, everything externally. If anything that was external, that I found didn't quite resonate with my values or anything like that, then I would argue, I would fight back. I'd get really involved because that's just my personality. I'm a red electric dragon in the Mayan calendar, which means I'm a transform, and I'm a life force, and I'm the energy from the womb, which means, I tend to, I move, and as I move, I transform. So it was very hard for me to stay still or to not say anything. However, with wisdom and with my own healing, I've learned, and I had to learn this, I learned to really honor my feelings, to honor what the internal processes of what's going on, and to not to separate what is actually going on externally and what is going on internally, like what belongs to me and what doesn't. And I've learned to detach from that, because, there's nothing worse than actually being controlled by situations and people. So when you heal your heart, you become your own master and of your own destiny, because you're actually in control. You're able to love, but then not have any attachment. Very powerful. That's a very powerful way to bring in, love into your life, to hold healthy relationships with people, with your family. And we know how traumatic it is to have certain conversations, or to, how we know how families can trigger us, have the potential to trigger us, because they just do, because they're very close to our heart, and because we've got the same triggers. We've inherited the same triggers of our parents and our of our siblings and all of that. So the power in knowing your heart and actually being proactive about detecting what is not in balance within your heart allows you to be to take control of your life. It allows you to not deprive yourself because you're afraid. And in fact, Jagadamba is a deity. Jagadamba is is a deity that I mentioned within my chant as well. So when you holler to Jagadamba, what it does is it gives you a lot of strength within your heart. So remember, when you have strength in your heart, you know how to confront adversities, and doing it in the most wise manner, because when you are not responsive and you are reactive, we use our energy. That is one way of using our power unwisely. We can hurt a lot of people. We can actually create damage that is either irreversible or that will come back to us. So holding wisdom helps us to disseminate good. So that's all I want to say today. I really felt it was important to come on and to share this. I hope it wasn't too much information. I didn't overflood you, but I like to think it was quite straightforward. Because a lot of people talk about healing the heart, but they don't really tell you the technicalities of it. And yeah, it was just a simple summary of the energetics of our heart, and this way you are then able to kind of detect your own self, to find out, you can start to ask yourself questions and find out what is going on with me. Why am I so emotional? Why does my mind not shut down? Why am I feeling this physical pain? So all of that. Now, I've got a deadline, so I need to go, and it's really dark. The sun's actually gone down. So I'm going to send you love, and I'm going to see you at the next video. Have an awesome night. Bye.